Alright, my friends, here we go again. Now, the good news about today's lesson is that we're going to combine two of the topics that we just discussed, which is distributive property and combining like terms. Because there are occasional times where you may have to use both of these properties, alright, within the same type of problem. Alright, so jumping right in, let's look at our first example. So you can see when we look at this guy that this, if I ignore the plus 7x, this is just our simple distributive property. So what we want to do, alright, is if we see these parentheses, we always typically want to look inside first. And if we have like terms, we want to combine those if possible. So when we look at this, we have one variable term, one number term, not like terms, can't combine them. So now what we want to do is we want to distribute. So just like we did last time, I'm going to do 3 times the first component and then 3 times the second component within our parentheses. So 3 times 2x would be 6x, and then 3 times negative 9 would be a negative 27. Now what we want to do is with all the other stuff outside of the parentheses, we just want to drop that down, alright, to the next level, just like this. Now notice, once we distribute it, it looks just like those combining like terms problems. So what we want to do now is look for like terms. Remember, variable can only be go to another variable, same power. Alright, so this is 6x, so it can only be combined with another x term. Alright, and we have a positive 7x. Now remember, when we do this, we just ignore all the other things and just add or subtract based on our signs that are given. So we have a 6x plus 7x, that is 13x. We only have one regular number term, so there's nothing to combine it with, so we just simply bring that dude down, and then that's our final answer. We have one group of x's, one group of regular numbers, okay, nothing else that are like, so we know we're finished. Alright, so now jumping into our next guy. Once again, if we just peek inside these parentheses, alright, we have no like terms, alright, so we can go ahead and jump right into our distributive property. Alright, so I'm going to distribute the negative 2 to the first term, the negative 2 to our second term. Now once again, be real careful with your signs. So a negative times a negative is a positive, and then 2 times 4x is 8x. So we have positive 8x. Then a negative 2 times a negative 3 would be a positive number, and then a 2 times 3 would be 6. And then once again, we're just going to take any extra terms on the outside of our parentheses and drop them down. Now once again, we are looking for like terms. So I'm going to start with my variable term. I only have one of those. There are no other variable terms here, nothing else to combine it with, so I'm going to drop it down. Then we're going to look for regular number terms. So I have a 6 here and a negative 8 here, so I can combine those two guys. Alright, now once again, I'm just going to combine these just like it looks. So this is 6 minus 8, which would be negative 2. Alright, moving on to our third example here. Now notice our parentheses now don't begin the problem, they're at the end of the problem. And once again, we just peek inside, no like terms, so is there something attached to the parentheses we can distribute? And then this time it is, it's the second number, so we're going to distribute just like so. So 4 to that first number, 4 to our second number. Alright, now once again, I'm just going to go ahead and drop this guy down, so then I'm going to bring down the negative 5. Okay, now 4 times 2 would be a positive 8. 4 times negative 8 would be a negative number, and so 4 times 8x would be negative 32x. And then once again, we're looking for like terms. And I always just group my variable terms first, and so what I see is I only have one variable term, so I'm going to bring that negative 32x down, and now I'm looking for my regular numbers. So I have a negative 5, I have a positive 8, negative 5 plus 8 is a positive 3. And that's all it is. Alright, so let's look at a couple more together before you do some on your own. Alright, and so what happens occasionally is that you may have multiple parentheses where you have to distribute, which is going to create even more pairs of like terms. Alright, so once again, we just go parenthesis by parenthesis. So I look at this parenthesis, alright, I look inside, no like terms, then I see a number on the outside that I need to distribute. So negative 5 to the first number here, negative 5 to the second number. A negative times a positive is a negative, so I get negative 15x here, and then negative 5 times 1 is a negative 5. In my second parenthesis, once again, I just peek inside, no like terms, I'm good. Alright, so I'm just going to distribute here and here. So now once again, be careful with your signs. Positive 4 times negative 2 is a negative 8. 4 times a positive 3x would be a positive 12x. Alright, now once again, we want to look for like terms. I'm going to start with my variable term. So here's a regular x term and here's a regular x term here. And once again, be careful, make sure you always take the sign in front when you're combining like terms. So I have negative 15x plus 12x, which would be negative 3x. Then I want to move on to my number terms. I have negative 5 and a negative 8 here. And once again, I just combine those just like they look. So negative 5 minus 8 would be negative 13. All right, our final example together before you do some. Once again, I'm going to look at my first set of parentheses here. All right, nothing inside are like terms, so I can't combine anything. So I'm going to distribute whatever's attached. So that would be this negative 3 to both numbers here. So negative 3 times 5x is negative 15x. And then a negative times a negative would be a positive, and 3 times 1 is 3. Now notice on our second set of parentheses, once again, no like terms inside, but the one I'm distributing is behind it. Okay, so I still have to distribute just like so. Now a negative times a positive would be a negative, and then 2 times 4x would be 8x. A negative times a negative is a positive, and then 2 times 9 is 18. Now once again, we're going to go looking for our like terms. So I have this negative 15x here, and I have a negative 8x here. So negative 15 minus 8x would be negative 23x. Alright, and then I'm going to look for my regular terms. So a positive 3 and a positive 18. Once again, make sure you include those signs in front of the number when you're combining. So I just do 3 plus 18, just like it looks, and that is a positive 21. Alright, so you can see it's really a lot of the same skill set that we've been talking about, just combining those multiple skills. Alright, so now I'm going to give you 3 to work on your own. Alright, so go ahead and pause the video, distribute, combine like terms, and we'll see how you do. Alright, let's check your work. I'm going to flip to the next slide, which has some of the work for you, so you can kind of see how everything goes. Alright, so you can see that we distributed here, and then combine like terms. Alright, and then once again, here's what you should have after you distribute, and then here's your final answer. And then lastly, once again, you can see that we have this distribution, so this is right here, and then combining like terms, this should be your final answer. Alright, so just 2 more for you to do. So let's do a couple where you have to distribute a couple of times and then combine. So once again, go ahead and pause the video, attempt these 2 guys, and then we'll see how you do. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and flip to our answer slide here. Now once again, the first line here is what you should have after you distribute. Alright, so this is what you should have if I distribute the 6 to both terms here, the negative 2 to both terms here, and then notice we have negative 6 plus 6. Alright, that's 0, so if you have a plus 0 written down here, that's perfectly acceptable. And then here, this once again is what you should have after you do all your distributions. Alright, and then here's what you should have. Oh, and there's a nice big error on this one. So let's go ahead and correct that. Alright, so let's mark this dude out. Alright, so this is 6 minus 20, so that should be negative 14x, and then minus 1. So I apologize for that. Now, once again, the biggest error that's usually made in problems like this is the distribution of your signs. Alright, so it's really big, once again, to double check your signs as you distribute. Alright, my friends, that wraps up this lesson on combining distributive properties and combining like terms. Alright, so if you have any questions, let me know. Do your self-assessment, do your homework, and then come see me about questions. See you in class.